Hello, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, how are you? How are you doing? And if you've been here before and you're a subscriber, I want to thank you. When I started this channel, I was at about maybe 4 or 7. It was back in November, October. I was in still stop one of my diasporic love story. I'll make sure I link the video here. I was in Costa Rica and I had just finished Stephanie Perry, co-founder of Exodus Summit. I just finished her YouTube challenge. And yeah, I began with about 4 subscribers. And this is literally from when I had a YouTube channel dedicated to making videos for my class, African American Studies 112. I just jumped right in. I'm sorry. Hello, I'm Dr. Kishi Ducre, co-founder of the SoulJourners Academy. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. But back to the subscribers. I just want to make sure. I'm up to 50. 50. So if you haven't been watching, you haven't subscribed, please take time right now. You just subscribe, get me to 100, just 100. One of my favorite YouTubers to watch, I can't remember the name now. Something Talks Politics. I can't remember her name right now, but she is, I'm inspired by her because she said, I'm trying to get to 500,000. It's like 500,000? I'm just trying to get to 100. I have very low expectations. So please like and subscribe. I'm here today to talk to you more directly about what it is I do. I've told you that, that I've co-founded this new initiative, this new program called the SoulJourners Academy. And so I want to talk a little bit about what inspired me to do this. And it really has to do with kind of my 3 things that I think, like the 3 essential, dare I be presumptuous to say, my 3 gifts. And they are, I'm an educator, and I've always been an educator. I love to teach. And I've been teaching for as long as I can remember. I've been teaching Black studies for over 20 years. I know you're like, did you start at 9? I'm older than my face might look, but my hair definitely tells you. So I've been teaching Black studies for over 20 years. But before that, I worked with Greenpeace, an international environmental organization, for a number of years. And I would help train community members to develop their own grassroots campaign against environmental hazardous projects. And before that, before graduate school, before Greenpeace, I had a bunch of cousins, male cousins. And I can remember my first memory of teaching has to be teaching my cousin Dwayne, who passed away in 2020. But I taught him how to write his name. Dwayne must have been like 4 or 5, and I'm 3 years older than him. I also remember sitting in front of my grandmother's dresser and lining up all her bottles, and I had like a little notebook. I remember this, and I had a class, and I think that's a common thing. So I have been when I say I've been a lifelong educator, I have been a lifelong educator. So that is one thing about me, that I have been teaching informally, and then I've been teaching very formally in front of large introduction to African American Study courses with up to 125 students, to small groups of graduate seminars with graduate students. So I've always felt like one of my gifts was to educate people. And I'm very good at it, if I may say so myself. And I know I'm pretty good at it because The testimony to that is that my students who've taken a class with me, they will find me. They'll write to me because I've had the same work email for 20 years. And they'll say, hey, you know, I'm in law school and I remember when you taught us about segregation, or, you know, I'm thinking about graduate school. You know, I've got a job with this nonprofit public policy, and I remember when you did this. And there's even a class where I offer cooking demonstrations, and I'll see a student and years later across campus because they went to work for the university, and they'll be like, I remember when we ate gumbo in your class. So those to me are the testimonies that I must be doing something right, because people do reach out to me who've taken my classes, and it's such an honor to have, you know, touched and sparked so many people. So that's definitely part of my identity. The other part of my identity, which is kind of related to that, is I'm not just a teacher to teach things, to teach concepts. I am fully committed to racial justice, to economic justice, to gender justice. I am fully committed to social justice and civil liberties. And so I teach with a purpose. Yes, I am one of those indoctrinators that they talk about. But it's not, you know, I try to teach critical skills. It's not that I'm trying to teach them a particular concept. I'm trying to teach people how to think critically and analyze things and get out of their comfort zone of what they've been taught and accepting it blindly, but looking at it at the surface and then looking at the facts and the social facts. So for me, related to my identity as an educator is also my goal to teach critically about what we know about the world, and talk about those assumptions and who said that and why would they say that. So that's what brings me to Black feminist geographies. So identity of educator and committed scholar activist to critical analysis of our structures of society, of space, of power, with the purpose of moving people, empowering people to do so. And then the third thing, which I don't know if it's a gift, my gift to the world or the world's gift to me, is I love to travel. And I guess again, it's a part of kind of my social location. I am daughter of an immigrant. And my mom is American, my father's Nigerian. And so I was born into this world. So Dr. Kishi Ducre is my, you know, professional name, but I was born, and Ducre is my married name. I was born Kisha Nofisa Yetunde Animashan. Okay, I'll say that slowly. Kisha Nofisa Yetunde, and I should say it in the way that it's said in Yoruba, Animashan. So I came into this world with this long foreign name. And so even in my birth, even in my orientation, I knew while I was here in the United States, growing up in Washington, D.C., and later in Prince George's County, Maryland, that I was different, and that I had a perspective that extended beyond U.S. soil. I had not been to Nigeria, but I knew that that just having that name, not having grown up with my dad and not knowing Yoruba, that set me apart in many ways in the African American experience. And with that, I knew instantly, just by my naming, that there was a world beyond where I was, right? So I didn't get to act on this global sense of identity until I got much older and until I got more papers. I didn't travel extensively until, I would say, it's been within the last, you know, I traveled for work or whatever, but like for pleasure and like just going places, that's a new thing. That's the last six years or so. I want to say 6 or 7 years, where I've been very intentional about going places. So my love of travel, it was definitely sparked by, again, being in that community of Stephanie Perry's Exodus Summit. I always wanted to visit these places and I wanted to study these places, but I didn't even think about living in these places or spending like weeks or a month in these places. Again, harkening back to my diasporic love story of 4 months, 4 countries in 3 months, I hadn't thought that was possible. So all of these 3 things is being an educator, being committed to justice, social justice, and traveling and having a sense of a global identity, that there are people that look like me all over the world. I guess maybe a 4th identity is the commitment to racial justice means I'm focusing on the Black diaspora, Black people globally. That brought me to founding the SoulJourners Academy. The SoulJourners Academy, I'm going to read, and this is like the worst thing you could ever do. I really need to have this right. So the SoulJourners Academy is the combination of online teaching for me. I'm going to be rolling out courses that people can take that are interactive culmination of what I do in the classroom, but designed for all learners. And so I'm rolling those out. So can I read that? I know you should never read. I heard you should never read on YouTube, but you can't. I'm a PhD. I got to have my precise words when it comes to this. So just bear with me. So one of the things that SoulJourners Academy does is offer these online courses. And again, if we're talking about critical analysis, if we're talking about the Black diaspora, the African diaspora, we have to talk about decolonization. So at the heart of what I'm doing is a decolonized form of teaching. Okay. So I write expert level, I'm the expert, classes focusing on the theory, the practice, and the histories of decolonization. Because I'm a Black feminist geographer, I'm going to be rolling out courses that are area specific. Okay. And so the way we read history, even American history, or wherever you happen to be, the history starts with colonial contact. Like, we're still celebrating Columbus, even what we know that he was a genocidal rapist. If you didn't know, you should know. So there were people, flashlight, is it flashlight? There were people before the colonizers. And a decolonized history of a place begins with the indigenous people. The colonizers are merely an era in the history of a space. We will talk, I will talk about, you will learn about the impact of colonizers, but this is a decolonized way of talking about places. We're going to start with pre-colonial contact. We're going to spend time understanding the people that were there before Westerners, European powers. We're going to touch on the impact of European powers, but a decolonized perspective is going to understand the people who were there. And because of the African experience in transatlantic slave trade, we have to talk about in those spaces, because I'm focusing on places where there are Black folks. We're going to talk about the experience of the mostly enslaved, when we're talking about the New World, the enslaved Africans who come. But I'm treating colonizing as an era and its impact on the people. I'm trying to get away from, and I'm trying to to get people away from the idea of starting with the founding of a space that was already occupied. Okay, so that's kind of an element of it. Through modules, through discussions, things like that. That's my offering, and we'll be rolling it out. So if you're interested in, going places from where you are, these online workshops, they will be rolling out within the 90 days. And so I'm going to put in the description a link to get on the wait list of when these items roll out, so that you'll be the first to know. The first one, I can already tell you, I'm putting the finishing touches on. It's an intro to African American studies. It's a short module versus a long one. So I'm giving you a short piece. I can tell you, there are three modules within that. One is called Mama Africa, because we have to start the continent. The second one is called Taking the People, Taking the Land. And then the third is called, I'm looking over here on my butch block, it's Freedom, Rebellion, Revolution, and Adaptation. So again, we're going to start with the decolonized history. We're going to talk about Africa before Western powers decided to carve it up in an instance called the Scramble for Africa. We're going to talk about African empires. Then we're going to get to the colonial contact, which is the taking the land and taking the people. Those are the two colonizing projects. Taking the people, we're talking about the slave trade. Taking the land, we're talking about the Scramble for Africa and carving up Africa for European interests. But we're not going to end with that struggle story. We're going to talk about the instances where the people resisted. Talking about resistance of enslaved Africans who are taken out, the people that are taken away, and we're going to talk about rebellion and adaptation in the New Worlds. We're also going to talk about the struggle for independence and independence movements in Africa. So it's a lot, and I'm squishing it down into 3 modules as an intro brief piece. And then I'll offer a longer one where we really get to tease out all these pieces. The first one that I'm going to bring out is a short piece to give you kind of an intro to what I'm doing. And then the longer pieces where we can really get into more readings, more discussion. It's just more. So you get a sneak peek with a 3 module set, and then you can have the chance to get a longer, fuller, fleshed out version of, we're talking about maybe 300 years, maybe more than that, 300 years of the Pan-African experience. So that's coming out. So again, sign up on the news list to do that. The other element of the SoulJourners Academy are when I take all of this and we get to go there. So if you want more, like, I love it, this is great, but you want to actually be in these places, the SoulJourners Academy is also offering cultural immersion trips, right? Cultural immersion trips. So these are curated, I'm reading again, these are curated travel experiences to regions primarily in the global South with the significant histories of Black liberation and resistance. And so, of course, you're like, okay, everyone offers tours, right? I can take a tour this way, I can do this one. But the one that I'm offering under SoulJourners Academy is very different. Because remember my 3 things, right? Educator, I'm committed to racial justice, and I want to travel. So this is not necessarily your typical travel tour. This is a cultural immersion, and this is a study abroad experience. So if you didn't get to study abroad when you were in high school, or if you didn't do it when you went to college and you regret it, this is your time. And you can bring all ages. You can bring a mama, you can bring your teenager, You could bring your 10-year-old. It's an intergenerational experience. And again, you're going to get a module. Everybody who participates on the trip, we have pre-departure orientation, so we could do community building. Also, each trip comes with its own online access to an online course where you again learn about the area, pre-colonial contact. Very important. You get a decolonized module about that place that we talk about as a group as we prepare to go on the trip. These will be offered during break so people can come, right? I was influenced by doing something like this because of world schooling. I really, really wanted to be a world schooler with my kids, but we just aren't able to do that. We are pretty tied to place right now here in upstate New York. But I love the idea of, traveling with a family as a pod, getting to know each other and experiencing places. That to me is an amazing idea. When I looked into it, not only are we tied to a place, and I could have done it when I went on sabbatical. I'm doing that diasporic love story. We could have joined one. But what I found is that world schooling communities are largely white. Like white, very, very, very white. And I am a strong proponent of representation and diversity. And so that was one of the things that I couldn't do it. So I couldn't do the year-round travel. I only had a specified few months to do it. I wanted to do a decolonized experience, and I wanted to travel with people, a diverse group of people. I didn't say that it had to be all Black, but I did want it to be diverse. I didn't want to be the only raisins in the potato salad. You know what I'm saying? So, but that could exist, right? We could have, through the SoulJourners Academy Cultural Immersion trips, the family study abroad, we could create a pod. We could do pre-learning exercises before we went to where we were going. We could create community, and I could educate and talk about the decolonial perspective of the places that we go. We can meet, we come together, and we enjoy the space, and we meet local people, and we engage in storytelling and immersion in the arts and the music and the culture of that space. So this is a passion project, and I'm really, really excited about announcing that first tour. So SoulJourners Academy is going to Costa Rica. Yay. So I mentioned a little bit towards the end of my last video. Our first trip as SoulJourners Academy will be August 13th through the 19th in Costa Rica, in the Caribbean region of Costa Rica, in Limon province. We'll be staying in Puerto Viejo, and it is an amazing, and I talk about it, you can hear me talk on and on about that area of Cahuita and Puerto Viejo, of how amazing it is and what I've learned about it. I also have a video about bringing my kids there. We stayed there for about 6 weeks. And so we're going back, and we're going back with families. The on-the-ground work is being done by Soul Life Travel. You can look for episode with the owner of Soul Life Travel, talking about her experience in curating this. August is Black History Month in Costa Rica. On the beginning of the month, Mother's Day is earlier in August. We won't be there for that, but it's a really big deal. They really, really celebrate moms there. And then towards the end of the month is a Marcus Garvey's birthday celebration. So we'll be there it's designed to be there the week that there is the Marcus Garvey celebration. There are parades in the capital city of that province, in Limon. There is a parade in Puerto Viejo. There are exhibitions. There's the Sankofa Festival. There's the Walaba Festival. This is a great time to go. And if you're interested in going, you can also see the link in the description, because we still have opportunities available. It's going to be a small group of us. I want to just take a few families. I'll be there with my kids. And if you're interested in going, please go ahead and go ahead and hit the link. It'll be in the description, and I can send you. You give me your email, I can send you the itinerary. But I can tell you very briefly that you'll fly into San Jose. Then we have to take a ground transportation to that region. It's north, and it is about 5 hours with regular traffic. And then we'll spend the whole week up there, and then you'll come back down the 19th to fly out. So again, that's August 13th to the 19th. It is still open. Deposits are due very, very soon. And so click the link if you want to know more information about our very first family studies abroad trip. As soon as you pay your deposit, you will get a welcome package, a care package for the program. You would get access to the online course about Costa Rica on that region of the country, on Costa Rica itself. Again, a decolonized perspective. It is designed to appeal to all ages. And so in your welcome kit, the kids will get a night, younger kids will get some activities and a journal. There will be t-shirts for everybody and a couple of other surprises. And also, again, access code to begin online. We're going to have a pre-departure Zoom with the families to get to meet, and another one to talk about the online course. So this is going to be great. I'm really excited. I hope that you can join us. And if you can't, because I know a lot of people have already made their summer plans. I get it. SoulJourners Academy is having these cultural immersion trips in different places for every break. I'm sponsoring a cultural immersion trip to Jamaica. This is not your, go to an all-inclusive resort and never leave type of trip. This, again, is cultural immersion. So I want to go to Jamaica during your winter break, the kids' winter break. Again, a module will be created. We will have an on-the-ground planner who is Jamaican. Then spring break 2026, we will do a U.S. destination that has this particular significance for the African-American experience. It'll either be New Orleans or it'll be Charleston, South Carolina. New Orleans, I can do it it's going to be either one. Again, sign up so that you can get a whole rollout of when they're all announced, the courses and when the trips are formally announced. And then during the summer break, so we're talking August of 2026, August 2025, we're going to be in Costa Rica. August of 2026 is, drumroll please, South Africa. Yes. So we have Costa Rica. Then we'll have Jamaica. Then we'll have a U.S. port of significance to the African-American experience, most likely New Orleans or Charleston, South Carolina, and then South Africa. So I am so excited. This is big. It's also scary because I'm stepping out of the formal university system to launch my own. But I feel like all the things that I told you at the beginning of being an educator for as long as I can remember, being committed to racial justice, creating a decolonized perspective of understanding the world, breaking down these narratives of the world based on who wrote it, right? And then my love of global experiences. I feel like I was made and called upon to create the SoulJourners Academy, and let this be a call, a clarion call to you and to your families to come and join me on these unique experiences, whether they're online courses or the cultural immersions. I'm very proud to bring this to you, and I hope that you can join me on either taking one of the courses that'll be rolling out in the next 90 days, or joining the wait list for these cultural immersion trips, or joining us on the one this August. So all the descriptions, the links for the descriptions to SoulJourners Academy are in the description box. And I'm so excited, and I hope to see you either virtually through our online discussions, through the classes, or on our cultural immersion trips. Take care.